Ready to make some leg warmers. Here is where we are going to be putting our aesthetically pleasing buttons. They're completely non-functional. So let's get started on the pattern. What we're going to need is 2 hooks. A 4.5 millimeter hook that we will use for the majority of the pattern, and then a 4 millimeter hook that we will use for our calf cuff, just because we want this cuff to be a little bit tighter and a little bit more secure around our leg. And a 1 skein of Joann Fabrics Big Twist brand, less than 1 skein to make both. It is 380 yards, and they recommend a hook 5 millimeter, but any worsted weight yarn will work with this. Any worsted weight yarn will work with this. Okay, using our 4 millimeter hook, because we are starting with the calf cuff. This project will be worked from the calf down, and it doesn't have to be a short leg warmer like I made. That's just my personal taste and preference. You can make these as long as you want. Okay, we're going to slip stitch and chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Turn, and working in the back bumps only, we're going to single crochet in the 2nd stitch, and in every, I said stitch, but back bump, in every back bump to the end. Chain 1 and turn. Okay, my last back bump, chain 1, turn. Now this is going to be the same for every row. The first stitch of the row and the last stitch of the row, we will work the full stitch, meaning we're going to work under both loops like a regular single crochet. Now for the remaining stitches, we will be working front loop only. And if you're new to crochet, this is the top of a full stitch with the 2 loops. The loop closest to you right here is called the front loop, or in patterns you will see it as front loop only, or FLO. This one that's furthest away from you is called the back loop. Again, in patterns you will see it as back loop only, or BLO. With this, we are working through the loop furthest away from us, the back loop only. To my last stitch now, I am going to work through both loops, the full stitch. Just like that. And this is the repeat. You will chain 1, turn, work through the full stitch again, and then proceed to work through back loop only until you get to the last stitch, where you will once again work through both loops. And you will do this, pardon me, I have to refer to my pattern. You will do this for 36 rows. Sorry, this is a fresh new pattern. I just came up with it yesterday. I've got it typed up on my computer because it is going to be available in my Etsy shop as well. So you will do this for 36 rows. When you are all done, also, this pattern, we will not be working in the rounds. We are going to work a flat panel, and then we're going to seam it together when we are done. The reason for this is I did not want one of those seams that is obvious and starts going sideways up. I wanted this to be straight and even. I feel like this creates a nice, clean, straight seam that, yes, it's a seam. It's not the most obvious seam, and it's not, you know, jetting off to the side either. So that's how we're going to do this, a full flat panel. So make your 36 rows of your ribbed calf ribbing, and when you're done, come back and I will show you what we're going to do next. It's very, very easy pattern. You're gonna love it. Okay, now that we have completed our ribbing, we're gonna go ahead and begin working on the body of the leg warmers. So, like I said before, this is going to be an open work layout. We'll just seam it in the end. So, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, Now we're going to skip a stitch. This is a stitch right here. The great thing about working our ribs the way we did, our ribbing the way we did with the regular single crochet on both ends is just simply pulling it apart a little bit. You can see every single stitch that we would work into. This being the first one, this one right here being number 2, 3, 4. So pretty much everywhere there is an indent, at the end of that row is a stitch. Everywhere there is a groove facing out, at the end of that row there is a stitch, and they are clear and easy to see all along. So whenever I say skip a stitch, this is what I mean. We just worked the equivalent of our first double crochet. So as you can see, we've got this protruding ridge. At the end of that is a stitch. We're going to skip that, and in the indented portion, ridge, we're going to work a double crochet. And here's how we create the tilted granny. Wrap around the post of the stitch. Just come right around the post of the stitch, pull up a loop, and pull through 2. There we go. Don't split your yarn. As if we're starting to make another double crochet. Then we stop. Wrap around, come around the granny post, come around the double crochet post again, pull up a loop, and pull through 2 again. It almost seems like we're working a double crochet decrease. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops that are on your hook. And without chaining one, we're going to skip one. This ridge right here has our next stitch over. We're going to skip that, and into the indented ridge, we will work a double crochet. And then immediately start making our next tilted granny. Yarn over, work around the post of the double crochet, yarn over again, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. Stop at that point, yarn over, work around the post of the double crochet, and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, stop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So pretty much for the rest of this row, everywhere it dents in, at the end of that row is our next stitch. Everywhere where it's protruding out, we're going to skip that stitch. So I'll work a couple more of these with you, and then I'll leave you to it. Okay, wrap around. You're going to skip this stitch here and into this one. Work your double crochet, wrap around your hook, pull up, pull through 2, wrap around, come around the post, pull through 2. So I'm going to be quiet now and just work a couple. Okay, go ahead and finish all the way to the end. Here we are coming up to the end of this row, and I've got 1 stitch left. It doesn't look like a stitch, it just looks like a little end knot. Trust me, it's a stitch. If you don't work it, your stitch count will be off. And so my last stitch will be the same as my first. a double crochet. Yeah, we get in there. There we go. Okay, now the rest of the pattern is just a repeat of this. We're going to repeat for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows total. Okay, let me get this next row started for you, and then this will be your 1 row repeat. You're going to chain 3 for your first double crochet. Now, ignoring this very first stitch, because this is our double crochet, you're going to skip this stitch and work in the next. And how that looks on the side is at the opposite end of the tilted granny stitch. So here and here and here, these are where you're going to work your tilted granny stitches. So you'll make your double crochet and then split your yarn every other stitch like I do. There we go. Then you're going to skip one, which is basically the one you skip is right in the center of this, right top center of the stitch. You're going to work what looks like the join, like where the 2 stitches hold hands. That's where we're going to work all of our stitches for all 8 rows. Please don't split. Thank you. It seems like every time I try to work that first one, it splits on me every other time. I just blame that on the yarn. It's good yarn, but it's a little bit splitty. All right. There we go. Okay, so this is your repeat for 8 rows. Come back whenever you're done with 8 rows, and I will show you how we're going to add the boot or ankle cuff. Okay, it's so super easy, so super easy. I'm going to jump on here real quick and show you how round 2 is going to end, because it's not going to end like it's not going to have a big space. In other words, sorry, words again, they're very hard for me. So you'll see that we essentially have 3 stitches at the end of the row, 2 over the tilted granny and then our turning chain. So go ahead and work your regular granny stitch. Well, tilted granny stitch, it's not a regular one, but work it as you regularly would. Don't split. I got a fly in my face. Stop. Sorry, it's just, I didn't even know it was in the house until I started filming, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, what you doing, buddy? What you doing? Right in my eyeballs. Anyway, I'm not editing that out. Then go ahead and work your double crochet for your turning chain. Okay, there we go. Chain 3, turn, and go ahead and just commence what we were normally doing. We see 2 stitches here because this one is already a used stitch for the double crochet here. So you're going to skip this one and start your next round of tilted granny stitches. There we go. And this row is going to end the exact same way. You see, you're going to have your 3 stitches on the end, your 3rd stitch being the turning chain. So go ahead and work your tilted granny, then work your double crochet in the turning chain, and then just keep going that. So I just wanted to pop on and show you that so that you didn't think that you got your stitch count off. You absolutely did not. You will end after making this stitch, you will end with a total of 3 stitches. So it's just these 2 are going to be worked side by side. Okay, y'all, be back whenever we're all done with our 8 rows. I have worked my 8 rows. Now we're ready to start making the boot and ankle area cuff using our same 4.5 millimeter hook. Chain 12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Turn our work. And working in the back bumps, second back bump from the hook, start working your single crochet. my last stitch, my last back bump. There we go. Now, what we're going to do, turn your work long ways like this to where you have your last row you worked going up and down. And in the very first stitch up, so we're already working out of the very first stitch of our last row. So in the next stitch up, work a slip stitch. Oh, that was graceful. Work a slip stitch. That was graceful again. Okay, I'm not even going to edit this out either. This is real life, people. And then in the next stitch up from that, work another slip stitch. There we go. Without chaining or anything, let your yarn just come around the front here. So we're going to turn our work so that we're going to work back down the other end, and just let your yarn come over your work like this. Now, just like we did for this, we're going to work the full first stitch and the full last stitch. To make sure that you're not working in one of your slip stitches, just count 11 stitches up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. See, that looked like a stitch right there. Oops, that looks like a stitch right there, but it's actually my first slip stitch. Here is my second slip stitch. This is my first stitch here. So if you're ever confused, oops, which one is my stitch, just count 11 stitches from the end to the base. Okay, so working in my first stitch of both loops, then working the back loops only until the last stitch. Up to my last stitch, and I'm going to work both loops just like we did before. Chain 1 and turn, and working through both loops again. This is going to be the repeat. Let me get a little slack on my yarn. Make sure that whenever you turn, it looks like an L. This is your working edge here. So then we just start working the back loops again. Here is a lot easier to see which stitch is our last stitch, and I'm going to work through both loops of my last stitch. And once again, we're going to, on our working edge, we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches up. So slip stitch and slip stitch, turn without doing any kind of chaining or anything. Now my work looks like this. And starting in your first stitch, which I know my first stitch is right here. Oops, my first stitch is right here because the next 2 stitches from my hook are going to be my slip stitches, but it can be confusing whenever you're looking at your work like this. This legit looks like a stitch, but it's not. So, working in my first stitch, both loops, then I commence to doing my back loop only. This is the repeat all the way to the end. When you get to the end, I'll show you how we'll work that last stitch, that last ribbing round. Just about to finish up my last 2 rounds, I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. You will chain 1, work your first stitch, and then work the rest of the row as usual. My last stitch, and there it is. Now I will slip stitch into the top of this turning chain right here. Turn my work, and this is our very last row. Since we only worked 1 slip stitch, we will skip the first slip stitch, and this is our first workable stitch right here. and commence to working your back loop only as usual. Last stitch. There we go. Okay, you will chain one and cut. Pull that on through. Leave a nice long tail for sewing. Grab your darning needle. Thread your needle. Okay. Now, bring your work together to form a tube. And pull through both sides, then turn, and we're going to start working back loop only on both sides so that we can continue to create this ribbing effect. So we go into the back loop of this side and the back loop of this side and just pull through. And we're going to do that all the way down. And I will be back whenever I am to the point where we start sewing this part together, and I'll show you how I do that. Okay, my last 2 stitches of the ribbed cuff, back loop, whip stitch it, and then I'll show you the effect that creates and why it's important to get the back loop of this end and the back loop of this end. Oops, I didn't even show you that on camera. Here we go. Of their 2 loops, back loop of this end and back loop of this end, pull through, and this is the effect it creates. Here we go. And so it keeps our seam consistent. All right, now let's carry on with the body of the leg warmers. I just try to find 2 sections. No 2 sections are going to match like they match here. It's not going to match here. So just do your best to try to find something that matches good enough, like that. Oops. I'm going to probably have to cut another piece of yarn. Doesn't seem like mine is going to be long enough. Here we go. So I pulled up to see where I just worked through and try to find a couple of stitches to work through next to it. There we go. Try to find a couple more stitches. And that's it pretty much. And then whenever you get back down to here, where things start lining up stitch for stitch, you're just going to go through back loop and back loop once again until you're done. Then you can weave in your ends. And then you can sew on your buttons. Now they're non-functional, they're just for aesthetic, but you can sew on your buttons whatever colors you like, black or brown or tan, real pretty colors. And there you go, then it's done. All done, and you've got leg warmers. Where's my other one? Boom. I love them. I love them. Cannot wait till it gets cold enough to wear them. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you found any help from this tutorial, please let the algorithm know by giving the video a like. Let me know by giving the video a like, a comment. If you want to see what I have coming up next and you can tolerate my verbal spaghetti, please subscribe because I've got a lot of future pattern ideas. I absolutely am obsessed with crochet. I am Miss Crochet. So please subscribe so you can see what I have coming up next and check out what I already have on my tutorial. Sorry, on my channel. Check out the tutorials I already have on my channel, I meant to say. There's some more of that verbal spaghetti for you. Okay, guys, love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.